Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel, and as promised, it's basically Power Ranger weekend here. Since we took a look at the Fortnite collab yesterday, today we're going to see how the brand new toys from the Reignition line turned out. Now, I could be doing individual reviews for all of these, but that would be a little bit time wasting. I want this to be like a cover-all for everybody who's curious about the toy line as a whole, because you'll learn a lot from this toy line by seeing everything all at once. So we're just going to look at a small, brief little cut of everything that's come out, and I'm going to go through some stuff very quickly. You don't need to know a whole lot. For instance, you don't need to know a whole lot about the flip head changers. So this is recreating the classic gimmick from the original toy line, and yeah, it does mean the Rangers now look like they were allergic to bees and thus swallowed an entire hive. I have an original flip change figure. I have no idea how we have gotten worse at implementing this flip head gimmick. So if I take a look at Tommy up close here, yeah, you can start seeing if the focus will work. There we go. You'll start seeing where it's cheaped out. You know, the eyes on the helmet are not painted, things like that. The straps that are supposed to wrap under his torso, not painted. Little details like the edges of the gloves and the boots, not painted. That dragon dagger is atrocious. It doesn't even look like the dragon dagger in gold. Gold is like the tertiary color. Why wouldn't this be black? I understand wanting to cheap out on it, but that seems like the wrong direction to go. It doesn't look right. And yeah, in general, it's a very basic figure. Remember, it's $12 at retail. All this stuff is very cheap for what it is, because that's what Playmates does. Very affordable action figures. But what works is what is supposed to work, which is the flip head gimmick. All that still works just as the original toy line intended. It's not a bad sculpt of Tommy. The paint does let it down, unfortunately. He has this weird balding on the side that he is trying to cover up with the bandana. I don't know if it's just a bad day at the barber or what. The reality is he's just not very well painted. And it is making him look very, very awkward. Let's just, yeah, put the Ranger head back up. That's best. For articulation, nothing in the head, nothing in the waist, obviously, because, it's the flip head gimmick. If you want to move the arms, about that. So, if you try to move the arms, that little lime wedge comes up along with his arm. That's the downside of the armor not coming off, unlike how the original one worked. It looks very awkward, and there's no outward movement to it whatsoever. It's a very awkward figure as a result. He does have rotation here above the elbow. The elbow has a bend to it. Wrist does rotate. So it's a basic articulation. You're not going to get action poses out of him. You're also not going to get kicks, because that's the best he can do. Tommy Oliver, famous for his high kicks and spin kicks. Not happening here. Not happening here. He also has those terrible hip joints that pin in the top of the pelvis, not the side. Which always feels very awkward and exposes a lot of the hinges and connection points. You do get a rotation, and this, so it's kind of trying for universal thigh movement. It's not working great. Rotation below the knee itself bends, rotation at the ankle. It's very simple articulation for a very simple figure. You do get extra accessories beyond this, though. He does come with the Blade Blaster in sword mode, as well as the Blade Blaster in gun mode. These are famous for Tommy for never being used by him. That does bring you to the holster, however, because the holster, well, number one, wrong color. I believe Tommy's should be black. Might be misremembering. Doesn't matter. Beside the point. This is supposed to fit in there. It does not. It's too big. The only thing that fits in there is the Blade Blaster in gun mode, which is not the mode it's supposed to be in when it goes in the holster. But that is semantics, and we'll get to that here in a bit. Suffice to say, these flip head figures and the adjacents, not very good. Not very good at all. It's just cheap. And the figures that don't do the flip head gimmick, yeah, you're probably going to get less play value out of them. Staring at you, Rita, and your non-existent leg motion. Alright, what's next? I think next up we have to take a look at the Morpher toy, because this is another one. So, 25 bucks for this thing. It's smaller than the other Morpher toys that I have messed with over the years. Doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's got the stickering, so, like, all that detail is correct. I wish these, like, faux lightning bolt, whatever this is on the side, I wish these details were a little bit darker. These are traditionally done in black. It looks a little bit weak when it's done in the dark gray instead. To go around to the back, you do have the handle that flips down just like the original toys, but again, gray plastic instead of black. And now the belt clip is molded directly in. It's not a separate attachment. And while that is convenient, it does mean you don't have a whole lot of hand room back here. It is a kid's toy line, so I'm not going to argue that. Smaller hands than mine are supposed to be inside here. Now, there's no button on the side like there traditionally is. No, you have two buttons up here. One is for sound effects and one is for the release. So in order to test that out, we turn that on. The demo mode pretty much does the exact same thing it does in on mode when there is no power coin inside. That just plays through like all the noises. Yeah, I prefer you play the ones that aren't going to get the channel copyright struck.
It's Morpher time! Let's take them to Mastodon! Triceratops! We need Dinosaur!
Pterodactyl! Saber-toothed tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
It comes so close to saying all of them in sequence, doesn't it? It just has to throw that one sound effect in there and get the order wrong. It just has to. Alright, so the way this works here, you see those three buttons in the center. All three have a combination that corresponds to one of the power coins. And before you ask, yes, there are noises in here for a Green Ranger and a White Ranger coin as well. So all 7 Rangers accounted for. I'm not going to demo everything because, again, it just gets repetitive. And, you know, that should be saved for a proper review if I really want to do it. But I'll show you basically what you are getting into. So here's your power coin. And it's not really a coin. It's got these raised edges. It's pretty deep for what it is. And it looks more like the cap I've seen off of prescription bottles. That's what it is because of the way this works. So I'm going to plug this in.
We need dinosaur power now! Tyrannosaurus!
That's not the order of events. You can't get dinosaur power until you morph. So you want to get that out of the way first. But you can see, like, every time you plug one in, it'll play corresponding noises to that power coin. If we go ahead and hit the button to open it.
It's Morpher time!
Generic electric noises. They make no attempt to make this sound like the actual transformation from the show, which is kind of disappointing. So it will play that voice, and it will a corresponding voice to the coin when you hit the open button, and then everything else is left to the other button.
We need dinosaur power now!
Yeah, it's no longer randomized. Now it is fixed to the Ranger that matches the coin that's currently plugged in.
Tyrannosaurus! Hi-ya! It's Morpher time! We need dinosaur Tyrannosaurus! Hi-ya! It's Morpher time! We need dinosaur power now!
All right, so you kind of get the idea. This boasts 40 different sounds and phrases. You're going to get a voice and a sound effect simultaneously every time, and it's kind of randomized. So sometimes it doesn't quite match up, and you'll see that as you mess with it more yourself. But again, for 25 bucks, I think this is fine. Like, this is the weirdest part. The reason that these ridges exist is so you can pull the coin out yourself like that, which does feel awkward and weird. Alright, you can go off now. We don't need you anymore. So yeah, 25 bucks, tons of sound effects, being able to switch between 7 different coins, okay, that's neat. Aside from the voice actors who are absolutely nothing like the originals, it's not bad for what it is. As just a little desktop display Power Morpher, you could do far worse. This is not too bad. Now, let's move on to the one I was the most excited for, our brand new Blade Blaster. I love a good Blade Blaster. This is probably my favorite transforming weapon toy of all time. Played with mine until the whole thing fell apart. Got a new one, got a new vintage one, and now I have this one as well. And yeah, this one actually has this weird blend of what worked for the original and what worked for the modern updates. For starters, it is screen accurate, unlike the vintage one. It's using the white barrel rather than the black and red that the original toy had. So that works for me. Chrome still exists on the teeth of the top section and the bones here along the side. The rear, no longer. That's just flat gray for those teeth in the back. You'll notice the biggest change is the fact that the barrel is now bright red because that is now where the lights will be. And yeah, there's a few tricks to this that are actually pretty cool. For starters, just the hand feel, it is thick. Not quite as thick as the original Blade Blaster toy, but in an adult hand, it feels better than, say, the Legacy version. Like that one that was just like, or Legacy or Legends. I'm getting my names crossed thanks to Transformers using all of them. But no, the collector's version, it was screen accurate. The handle feels a little bit thin. It's a little bit awkward to hold. This one's a little bit thicker. This one works a little bit better for me. It's still very much a square block, so it's not that comfortable to hold, but you get my idea. So, we need to get into the problem with this toy, and the problem is the sound effects. So, there is no on switch on this. It's just one of those where the battery's plugged in, you're just going to hit the button to make the sound effect play, and then the only button you have is the trigger. So when I hit the trigger,
Time to beat these beasts.
number one, random voice will play from one of the 5 stand-in rangers, and then a random weapon sound effect will play. And it's incredibly unsatisfying to pull the trigger on a blaster toy and get a voice clip before the blast goes off. It's more unsatisfying because that wasn't a blast. That was a blade swinging through the air. Let's try that again.
Lock on and fire!
Now you're using the command for the Ultra Zord for the Blade Blaster. And again, that was a sword slash. Can you please shoot the monster?
Power up!
That's not a shot. That's
Time
gonna...
to beat these beasts.
That's still not a shot, and the previous one was a copyright strike. Stop doing that.
Blade blasters, up!
There we go. There's a blast sound effect. So again, it boasts over 20 sound effects. The voice and the blast are going to combine. You're always going to get a voice. You're always going to get a blast, unless the music starts playing.
Power up.
Let's blast them!
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. When it shouts, "Let's blast them," and you hear sword effects instead. So yeah, the toy cannot tell what mode it's in, which is funny because there is a sound effect for actually switching. Your only guaranteed blast and switch sound effects are when you do that. But that said, that's kind of a neat trick for the blade. And yeah, lighting up is not a bad option. You know, the originals didn't do that, so it's a little bit more fun for kids. I'll give it that. We go ahead and close this down. And there is your blade mode. Now, obviously, the translucent red blade is not going to be accurate to the original. It should be silver. But it's a kid's toy. It makes it light up. At least it's going to be a little bit more fun for them. It's fine. Again, feels fine. Feels closer to the original. A little bit light because, you know, cheaper. And again, it doesn't know what mode it's in. Let's blast them! Slash. Do you notice the other issue with this particular version of the Blade Blaster? Here, let me show you again. Maybe you'll pick up on it. So, did you figure it out? You can't put it in a holstered mode. Now, for cosplayers, that's going to hurt, but also the holstered mode was important because they used it in the show for their combined blast. So, like, anytime you pull this back, the blade deploys. So I can't put it in that mode. So that's something to be aware of. You can just kind of fold up like this, and for storage, that's how it's going to be. And that's probably going to be close enough if it's just part of a costume. But obviously, you know, you're not going to be able to hold it the way they did in the show this way. So again, for what it is, it's fine. Man, it really needed to fix its sound effects. That is really screwy, and it's really bugging me. Everything else about this, I could accept. But, like, it's so unsatisfying when I pull the trigger and I don't get the attack sound effect of the mode that it's in. And it's even more unsatisfying because there's a voice that plays for no reason. Ah, well. And that's going to leave us with the big ones that everyone's really going to be asking about, which is the Dinosaurs themselves. I have brought the Tyrannosaurus here just to give myself a little bit of a chance here, because I think we acknowledge the others really are just there to exist as potential Megazord combinations. They don't have much play value outside of, like, just firing missiles. The Mastodon especially has no firing missile. So it's just a brick toy Mastodon that you can just stomp around with. The Tyrannosaurus at least has a little bit going on. You know, the head moves, you know, jaw opens up, arms move up and down. It's got basically has the range of motion that the original toy had. You can spread the hips a little bit to give them a more natural stance. I mean, as natural as an 80s Tyrannosaurus can get. Obviously, this is not correct to our modern understanding of the animal. But it is what it is. Now, the point of this is size. Just like the Voltron toys that Playmates released, they wanted these to be absolutely gigantic. I can put a deluxe transformer here just to kind of show you how huge these Dinosaurs are. I took a photo and put it on Blue Sky to show just how big this is compared to the original. If I can remember to put it in here, I will put it in right here. Yeah, they're about 50% larger than the originals, which actually really kind of helps my brain chemistry identify it as the Megazord I played with as a kid, even though I know it's not. But that's how big it felt when, you know, you're just a child. So this is a weird nostalgia hit where, yes, it's cheap, but there is something about it that feels right. And obviously, if you compare it to the original, you're going to notice all the deco that is missing. A bunch of sticker detail is gone, but especially, you're going to notice that the head does not have the silver cap that it's supposed to. But, you know, it's just designed to be a gigantic Megazord. Obviously, when you get the rest of it, you're just going to put him in a Megazord mode. Now, when all 5 are released, I am absolutely going to do a review of the entire set. That's just why I'm not going to talk about him too much here, why I'm not going to bring in the other Dinosaurs. Suffice to say, there's going to be merit to it. I will give you that. And I'm starting to realize other factors of why they did these individually, because a Dragon Zord is inevitable. I have no idea where it's going to fit into the price scheming behind these. But if all you care about is the Dragon Zord, you don't have to buy the Tyrannosaurus and the Pterodactyl. That's actually kind of smart when I think about it. So, okay, so there is actually an advantage. Now, why you would release a Megazord without all the components available at once, I don't know. I'm lucky that the Mastodon was available on Walmart for a while, so I have that. The Pterodactyl, who knows? I'm just going to have a shirtless Megazord for a long time. But is what it is. So, yeah, these guys are fine. These toys themselves, if you realize why they are so cheap for what they are, size-wise, electronic-wise, as long as you realize that going in, you should be fine with it. Like, I think the biggest disappointment to me are the flip heads, because they seem to be inferior to even the original flip head toys, which shouldn't be the case in 2025. But here we are. There's the 6-inch figures. I haven't gone in on those because I don't feel like buying an entire 6-pack of Rangers at the moment. And then, of course, yeah, like I said, once I have all the Dinosaurs, we'll review them as a whole, and I'll show you everything. But for now, that's your general overview, just in case you happen to see them. You know, and then just like fingers crossed they actually release the rest of this soon, so we can put all these half-done Megazords together. So, that's it from me. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.